leads us back to consequences and setting parameters. Like you can say, kids, you can see that we ultimately we want it to make it okay that you can eat in this room. And at the same time, we have this furniture and that it's real important that we keep it as clean, or, you know, keep the food off of it to make it stay nice for lots of years. And so, so that was kind of our whole thing the other day, and we can see that you weren't quite ready yet for that responsibility. Mm-hmm. Like you always use that word, that responsibility. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull that little responsibility away from you for a while, but we're going to give it back to you at some point, because ultimately we want you to be able to eat in this room. Mm-hmm. So that's all you say. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you pull it back for a while. Mm-hmm. And then, Daddy, can we try eating in the room? Well, you know what? When I'm not ready for you to take the whole tray on the couch again, but perhaps I'm willing to let you, put a bowl of something on the coffee table, and see how you do that one. Mm-hmm. And so that's teaching. That's what our kids need to know in the big picture. Those little kind of things, they need to know how to live. They need to know how to sit in the living room. There's really no need for them to have to wait until they're 18 to sit in the living room. We would like to have our 2, 4, 8-year-olds sitting in the living room and not worrying that, the whole living room is going to turn into a kitchen sink. Mm-hmm. So it's just saying, here, we gave you the responsibility. We can see it was too much. So we're taking it back, and we'll give it another try another time. Okay? It's actually a beautiful teaching moment. Yeah. Well, you know what I love, Seema? I loved how you asked her, what do you think? Do you think you think you got that handle, that responsibility that you can, no. When we start asking our kids that stuff, and she could have said yes, and she could have broken it, and then it's so imperative that we don't freak out. I thought you told me you were ready for this responsibility. Can you?
No, but then it would have been her loss.
Right, exactly. But right? As a parent,
she would have known. Yeah, but that's easier for me to see that now.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about me. It's about her. And messes can always be cleaned up. I've just decided.
So far, everything you've talked about with your kids, they've made a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the thing is like you're upset, and so going back to that exercise last week, we'll wait. Let's just wait till we get there, because it's a beautiful. Because you're like, why do I get upset? Like, why do we, when our kids make mistakes? And you all know why. Because we got in trouble every time we made mistakes. There's very few of us had a parent say, "Hey, you made a mistake. So what do you want to do to get it handled?" We didn't hear that stuff. So we know that, but we don't act on here. We act on here. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so important. Last week, you 2 women missed the whole exercise on limiting beliefs. And, really, you guys have that piece of paper now, and you guys have it in your packet, where you're getting stuck somewhere. You can, when you have some time, stop and do that exercise and go back to a time that you made a mistake, or go back to a time when, whatever you got in trouble for, and see where that showed up in your life and how it got handled, and then change it. Just do the exercise, and that will help release, and then do 3 things to anchor that new belief. Because it's really important to anchor it. It's one thing to be aware of it, but then you want to consciously find places where you're anchoring that new belief too. So it makes total sense, and it's actually a beautiful lead-in. And remember, we're not looking for perfection. There is no perfection in being a human being. If we were perfected, we wouldn't be human. We'd be like something. Yeah. So do a makeup. You just go back and say, hey, the way I handled that whole incident wasn't okay. It's not how we do our family here. And so as a result, I want to do a makeup. You're like, Mommy, but I did break. Yeah, you broke it. And that's that. But how I handled it, you made a mistake. You know how much I wish when I made a mistake, my parents hadn't gone all over me? Like, purposely, did you just throw that globe down and say, I want to break you? And she's like, no. So there you had it. You made a mistake. My job is to learn how to love and honor and celebrate mistakes, so we can take it into a teaching moment. And in fact, you did, because you said, you might want to set these up differently. Yeah. But bottom line, the way I handled it was not okay. So I want to give you a 5-minute back rub. And your daughter's like, yes, Mom, make more of those mistakes.